In the village of Omaro, where the earth whispered secrets to those who dared listen, the nights were never truly silent. Chike still hears the knocking in his dreams. It wasn't loud, but it was steady, like the rhythm of a drum. It came from beneath the earth, where no man should ever knock. The prince of Omaro, Obi Ikenga, was not born wicked. At least that's what the elders say. He was once a bright boy, the kind who chased grasshoppers in the fields and laughed with the market women. But something changed after his coronation. Some said it was the crown, others whispered it was the things his father buried in the ground before he died. Chike was a farmer, a simple man with no business near the palace. But everything started with severe famine. The sun burned hotter than it ever had, cracking the earth and killing the yams. Even the river, the mighty Nzo, dried to a muddy stream. The people prayed, but the gods were silent. Then one night, the drums called the villagers to the palace square. The prince stood on the steps of the Obi, his face painted with chalk and blood. His eyes looked strange, like he wasn't truly there. "I have spoken to the ancestors," the prince announced. His voice was steady, too steady, like someone else was speaking through him. "The rains will come, but the land demands sacrifice." The crowd murmured, confused and afraid. Sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice? But no one dared ask. The next morning, the first child disappeared. It was Chizoba, the potter's daughter. Her mother screamed and tore at her hair, running through the village calling her name. The villagers searched everywhere, the river banks, the forest paths, and even the baobab tree where the children hid during play, but Chizoba was gone. 2 days later, the rains came. It poured like the heaven had been waiting to burst. The people danced and sang, but in their hearts they were uneasy. They knew it wasn't the gods that had answered. Over the next months, the pattern continued. A missing child, then a blessing, a great harvest, a swollen river, a forest teeming with bushmeat. The people praised the prince, but everyone avoided his eyes. One night, Chike heard the knocking. It came from the earth, soft but steady, like it was calling him. He tried to ignore it, but it wouldn't stop. He followed the sound to the edge of the forest, to a place the hunters said was cursed. There Chike found the prince. The prince stood at the edge of a shallow pit. His body was covered with mud and ash. In his hand was a small lifeless body, a child, Chizoba. Her tiny face was pale. Around him the earth was littered with bones, too small to belong to any animal. "Do you see now?" the prince asked, without looking at Chike. His voice was soft, almost gentle. "This is what it takes to save them." "You are a monster," Chike whispered, trembling. The prince turned to him then, his eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. "And you are the weakest link," he said. Chike ran. He didn't look back, not even when he heard the prince laugh. It wasn't the laugh of a man. It was something deeper, something older. Chike told no one what he saw, but the nightmares began that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the prince, surrounded by shadows and bones, smiling that cold, empty smile. The sacrifices continued, and the people kept pretending not to know. But the forest grew darker, the winds colder, the land seemed alive, and it watched them. Chike left Omaro. but he knows he will never escape. The knocking follows him wherever he goes, soft and steady like a drum calling him home. Thank you all so much for watching. What do you think about this story? Do you think the prince was truly evil, or was he a victim of his circumstances? Would you have spoken out if you were one of the villagers, knowing the blessings came at such a cost? I would love to hear your thoughts. Leave your answers in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who loves a good story, and subscribe for more thrilling tales. See you in the next one.